The anticipation surrounding Terence "Bud" Crawford's potential clash with Canelo Alvarez is electrifying. Boxing fans, pundits, and enthusiasts are on the edge of their seats after Crawford recently revealed that he tipped the scales at a solid 186 pounds. That is a statement, a declaration, and, quite frankly, a flex. The excitement is undeniable because this signals a whole new level of competition. It's one thing for a fighter to say they're ready for a challenge, but it's another to show up in fighting shape at a weight that signals pure preparation and intent. That's intimidating, that's thrilling, and that's exactly what boxing needs. Crawford, never one to shy away from a challenge, took to social media to stoke the flames of excitement even further. His message was concise yet powerful: "What's up y'all, I'm looking forward to being undisputed in September. Let's get it. It's work time." That's the kind of energy that gets fans buzzing. Crawford isn't just talking about stepping up, he's actively setting the stage for what could be one of the most monumental fights in recent boxing history. The mere thought of Crawford aiming for undisputed status again, this time against Canelo, is enough to send shockwaves through the sport. The comparison to Kendrick Lamar's halftime show moment, where he had an entire stadium and beyond echoing his words, is fitting. Crawford, much like Kendrick, has captivated an audience that extends beyond boxing purists. The same way Kendrick's lyrics held power, Crawford's actions inside and outside the ring resonate deeply. His weight revelation, his confidence, and his determination set the tone for what's ahead. Boxing fans know what's at stake, and that kind of energy only amplifies the anticipation. This fight is massive for boxing. The magnitude of this potential bout cannot be overstated. Crawford stepping into the ring against Canelo is not just about two elite fighters clashing, it's about legacy, history, and the ultimate test of skill, size, and strategy. It's a fight that has everything: technical brilliance, raw power, mental warfare, and the ever-important question of whether greatness can transcend weight classes. This is the kind of bout that ignites debates, fuels analysis, and captures the imaginations of fight fans worldwide. Now, let's break this down into two perspectives: one for those who are ardent supporters of Crawford, the Bud fanboys, and another for those who lean towards Canelo, the Canelo fanboys. Because let's face it, boxing debates get heated, and everyone has their biases. So, for the sake of a balanced discussion, let's look at both the pros and the concerns surrounding Crawford's move to 186 pounds. For those who believe in Crawford's greatness, this weight revelation is nothing short of spectacular. It's exactly what was needed to fuel the hype for this fight. Critics often point to size as the main issue when discussing Crawford's chances against Canelo. Many believed that by the time this fight took place, Crawford would be at a significant disadvantage due to the sheer difference in weight and frame. But now, we have tangible proof that Crawford is physically preparing to handle the weight disparity in a way that few expected. At 38 years old when the fight happens, some might see that as a disadvantage, but for Crawford, it's all about maintaining peak conditioning. Being 186 pounds and still looking sharp, still maintaining speed, and still exuding confidence, that's what makes this special. It tells us that he's not just adding mass for the sake of it, he's adding the right kind of weight. Muscle, endurance, and power. That's an essential combination when stepping into the ring with a fighter like Canelo, who has dominated at 168 and even held his own at 175. Let's not forget that Crawford is one of the most well-rounded athletes in boxing. His raw strength has been showcased before, but many forget about his wrestling background. His entire family has a deep history in wrestling, and that level of competitiveness runs through his veins. That strength matters. When he's clinching, when he's maneuvering in the ring, when he's engaging in inside fighting, every ounce of that added strength will make a difference. And if he's maintaining his agility, then we could be looking at a fighter who is genuinely ready to move up and compete at the highest level. The combination of his skill set and this added weight makes this matchup even more intriguing. Crawford isn't just a great boxer, he's a problem solver in the ring. He adapts, he adjusts, and he breaks opponents down methodically. If he can carry this weight effectively while retaining his speed and reflexes, then there's a real argument that he could pose a legitimate challenge to Canelo Alvarez. And let's be honest, if everything else were equal, if they were naturally the same size, many would favor Crawford's technical ability over Canelo's power. That's why this weight revelation is such a big deal. Now, for those who think Crawford is biting off more than he can chew, here's the reality check. While it's impressive that Crawford is walking around at 186 pounds, that doesn't necessarily mean he's ready to trade blows with someone like Canelo Alvarez, who has been operating at the highest levels of super middleweight and light heavyweight for years. There's a significant difference between being a heavier fighter and being a natural fighter in a particular weight class. Crawford's situation is somewhat reminiscent of Roy Jones Jr.'s move to heavyweight when he fought John Ruiz. Jones scientifically bulked up while maintaining his speed, tipping the scales at 193 pounds, but the difference was that Ruiz was a true heavyweight, accustomed to fighting much heavier. Crawford may have bulked up, but is he truly equipped to handle a naturally bigger fighter who has thrived in the higher weight classes? Canelo isn't just a big guy, he's a powerful, durable fighter with an incredible chin. He's faced some of the most dangerous punchers in the sport and has absorbed shots from naturally larger men. The key question is whether Crawford's power will carry up to 168 or if it will be negated by Canelo's size and defensive acumen. Power in the lower weight classes doesn't always translate when moving up against fighters who are conditioned to absorb heavier shots. Then there's the issue of experience at higher weights. Canelo has already established himself as undisputed at 168, proving that he can handle elite-level competition in that division. He's gone toe-to-toe with elite fighters at 175 and held his own. Crawford, for all his greatness, has never competed at such a high weight in a professional fight. That gap in experience could prove crucial when the fight happens. Another concern is endurance. Carrying extra weight while maintaining stamina is an entirely different challenge. Can Crawford maintain his relentless pace across 12 rounds against a fighter like Canelo, who has been through grueling battles at this weight? That remains to be seen. Regardless of which side of the debate you land on, one thing is undeniable: this is a fight that boxing needs. Crawford's confidence, his willingness to take this challenge, and his clear dedication to preparing for it have elevated the hype to new levels. On the other hand, Canelo remains the king of 168, and his experience at the weight class is something that can't be ignored. What we have here is the perfect storm. A fighter daring to be great, pushing the boundaries of what many thought possible, versus a champion who has already solidified his legacy in multiple weight classes. No matter the outcome, this is the kind of matchup that defines eras. The anticipation is at an all-time high, and as we inch closer to fight night, the debates, analyses, and predictions will only intensify. Whether you're a Bud fan or a Canelo supporter, one thing is clear: this is one of the biggest fights in modern boxing, and every moment leading up to it will be worth the wait. The fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is one of the most highly anticipated matchups in boxing, a collision of two elite fighters whose styles, skills, and legacies have made them icons of the sport. When discussing the matchup, many debates arise about size, power, and the question of who is truly the bigger fighter. A deeper dive into these aspects will give us a clearer picture of what this fight represents and how it might unfold. One of the most intriguing aspects of this fight is the conversation around size. Many argue that Canelo Alvarez is the naturally bigger fighter, having fought at 168 and even 175, while Terence Crawford has dominated at lighter weight classes. However, there's another argument to be made that Crawford may not actually be smaller than Canelo. When looking at size, we have to differentiate between being the bigger man and being the bigger fighter. This distinction is crucial when assessing the strengths and weaknesses each boxer will bring into the ring. An example of this concept can be seen when comparing Canelo Alvarez and Jermell Charlo. On paper, Charlo appeared to be the naturally bigger man, possessing a taller frame, wider shoulders, and a more significant reach. However, when they stepped into the ring, it was clear that Canelo was the bigger fighter. He carried his weight better, had more stability, and was physically stronger in close exchanges. Charlo may have been bigger in terms of frame, but Canelo's ability to carry his power and utilize his strength made him the more dominant fighter. This same logic can be applied when analyzing a potential matchup between Canelo and Crawford. Crawford has spent most of his career fighting in lower weight classes, achieving greatness by becoming undisputed at 140 and 147 pounds. However, if he truly is the same size as Canelo, as some claim, then this raises a different discussion, one that suggests Crawford has been weight bullying throughout his career. The idea of weight bullying refers to a fighter who cuts significant weight to compete in a lower division where they can use their natural size advantage over smaller opponents. If Crawford has been the same size as Canelo all along, then his dominance in lighter divisions could be attributed, in part, to his size rather than just his skill. This is where the debate gets interesting. If Crawford is naturally as big as Canelo and has been cutting down to fight smaller opponents, then moving up to 168 to face Canelo should not be an issue. However, it also means that should Canelo win convincingly, the argument that Crawford has been feasting on smaller fighters would gain traction. A victory for Canelo in this scenario would suggest that not only is he the better fighter, but that Crawford's dominance in lighter divisions was aided by his size advantage. On the other hand, if Crawford were to defeat Canelo, it would cement his legacy as one of the greatest fighters of all time, proving that he can compete at an elite level across multiple weight classes. One of the factors that could impact this fight is Crawford's preparation and how he puts on the additional weight. He has been seen training while wearing a snack hat, suggesting that he is using modern sports science to optimize his physical conditioning. For Crawford, the challenge is to add mass without sacrificing speed and agility. Unlike Canelo, who has naturally grown into higher weight classes over time, Crawford must strategically put on the necessary weight while maintaining his athleticism. The strength difference between the two fighters is another key aspect. Canelo has demonstrated his power by knocking out fighters like Sergey Kovalev at 175 pounds, a division where many believed he would be at a disadvantage. His ability to carry his punching power across multiple weight classes is one of his biggest assets. Meanwhile, Crawford has shown devastating finishing ability, but primarily against smaller opponents. If Crawford can translate his power to 168 and hurt Canelo, it will be a testament to his ability to adapt and compete at the highest level. However, if Canelo walks through Crawford's punches, it could spell trouble for the smaller fighter. The stylistic matchup between Canelo and Crawford is fascinating. Canelo is known for his high-level counterpunching, body shots, and defensive head movement. He is patient in the ring, breaking opponents down over time and capitalizing on mistakes. On the other hand, Crawford is one of the most versatile fighters in boxing, capable of switching stances, adapting mid-fight, and dissecting his opponents with surgical precision. His ability to adjust to any opponent is what makes him so dangerous. One potential game plan for Crawford would be to use his speed and movement to keep Canelo off balance. Canelo has shown difficulty against fighters with high output and lateral movement, such as Dimitri Bivol. If Crawford can employ a similar strategy, staying on the outside and picking his shots carefully, he may be able to frustrate Canelo and win rounds on the scorecards. However, This approach requires tremendous discipline, as Canelo will be looking for any opportunity to close the distance and land his signature power shots. Another important factor is durability. Canelo has faced some of the hardest hitters in boxing, from Gennady Golovkin to Kovalev, and has never been knocked out. His chin is one of the best in the sport, making it difficult for opponents to deter him with power shots. Crawford, while defensively sound, has not faced someone with the raw power and physicality of Canelo. If he gets caught clean, it will be interesting to see how he responds. Canelo's experience at higher weights also gives him an advantage. He has fought and defeated elite opponents at 168 and 175, proving that he can handle bigger and stronger fighters. Crawford, on the other hand, is stepping into unknown territory. While he is skilled enough to compete, he has yet to prove that he can dominate at a weight class where fighters naturally carry more power and resilience. A win for Canelo would further solidify his status as one of the greatest fighters of his era. He has already cemented his legacy with multiple world titles across different weight classes, but defeating a pound-for-pound elite like Crawford would add another historic victory to his resume. For Crawford, a win over Canelo would be career-defining, proving that he can transcend weight classes and beat one of the best fighters in the world at his own game. The lead-up to this fight will be filled with debates, predictions, and analysis. The discussion about size, power, and skill will continue until the fighters step into the ring. Will Crawford's speed, precision, and adaptability be enough to overcome Canelo's power, durability, and experience, or will Canelo's strength and tactical prowess be too much for Crawford to handle? Ultimately, this fight has the potential to be one of the greatest matchups in modern boxing history. It is a battle not just of size, but of skill, intelligence, and heart. No matter the outcome, the boxing world will be watching closely as these two champions collide in what could be a fight for the ages.